everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into something, well, it's a bit of a head scratcher for me, you know?
Ooh, what's that?
Well, it's about how people of Chinese descent specifically are seen in Western societies, like how those perceptions have changed over time.
I see. Yeah, perceptions can definitely shift and, well, sometimes not for the better.
Exactly. And that's where this research paper we found comes in. It's called From Model Minority to Outsiders: COVID-19 and the Surge of Anti-Chinese Sentiment. It's pretty eye-opening.
And where was this published?
It's from the International Journal of Humanities, Social Science, and Management.
Interesting. So what's got you scratching your head about it?
Well, you know that whole model minority stereotype, right? Like Asian Americans being seen as successful, hardworking.
Right, the stereotype.
But then the title of this paper throws in outsiders and anti-Chinese sentiment. I'm like, wait, what happened? What changed?
Yeah.
And how does COVID-19 fit into all of this? It's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, no, I get it. There are a lot of layers there.
Yeah.
And this paper definitely helps us peel them back. So maybe we should start with this model minority thing. Unpack that a little.
Yeah, okay, let's start there. So I feel like I kind of get it, but at the same time, I'm sure there's more to it than just, like, Asian Americans being good at math and getting good grades.
Oh, there's definitely more to it. It's not just about, positive attributes, really.
It's not.
Well, the paper argues that this whole model minority thing, while it might sound positive on the surface, it can actually be pretty divisive. Like, it gets used to pit minority groups against each other.
How so?
Well, think about it. If one group is held up as the model, it implies that other groups are somehow, not measuring up.
Whoa, yeah, I see what you mean.
Right. It sets up this kind of hierarchy,
Yeah.
and that can be really damaging.
So it's not just about setting unrealistic expectations for Asian Americans themselves, it's also being used to downplay the struggles of other groups.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like this weird logic where if Asian Americans are doing well, then systemic racism must not be a real problem.
Yeah, it's like saying, see, look, they made it so everyone else can too if they just try hard enough.
Right. It completely ignores all the systemic barriers that other groups face.
Ugh, that's so messed up. And the paper mentions all this data, like demographic comparisons between Asian Americans and white Americans on things like income and education. But it feels like those numbers don't tell the whole story.
They never do. And that's one of the things the researchers highlight. Those comparisons are often oversimplified and don't account for the diversity within Asian American communities. You can't just lump everyone together based on a few statistics.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just because some Asian Americans are doing well doesn't mean everyone is. There are still tons of people struggling, and those struggles are often invisible because of this model minority myth.
Exactly. And that's why this research is so important. It challenges those easy assumptions and forces us to look deeper. It also points out something pretty interesting, which is that this model minority concept, even though it originated in the U.S.,
Yeah.
it's actually been studied in other countries too, like Brazil, Canada, the U.K.
Really? So it's like a global phenomenon almost.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
And that makes its impact even more widespread and concerning, I think.
Yeah, definitely concerning. But I do want to shift gears a little bit because this paper isn't just about the model minority myth, right? It's also about this surge of anti-Chinese sentiment. And I mean, to be honest, that's the part that really grabbed my attention. Like, what's going on there?
Yeah. That's a huge part of what they're looking at. And I think it's important to understand, to start with, I guess, that xenophobia,
A phobia.
it's the fear or dislike of China and Chinese people. It's
Yeah.
not new.
It's not.
It's got deep historical roots,
Mm.
like way back, which makes its resurgence in recent times all the more concerning.
Okay, so back up for a sec. When did this xenophobia stuff actually start? Like, when did these negative perceptions of China and Chinese people first emerge? Give me a little history lesson.
Well, even back in like the 18th century, you see European societies portraying China as like this stagnant and despotic place.
Huh.
It was all part of this this idea of the exotic East, that kind of fueled Western imaginations. And then as we move into the early 20th century, you get this whole yellow peril thing.
Oh, right, the yellow peril. I remember learning about that. It was this fear that East Asian people posed a threat to Western civilization. Wild how those kinds of ideas stick around.
It really is. And while these historical examples might feel kind of distant, they actually give us a lot of context for what's happening today. Because if you fast forward to now,
Yeah.
we see the COVID-19 pandemic,
Right.
which originated in Wuhan, China.
Right.
And it acted as a catalyst for a resurgence of xenophobia.
It makes sense, though, right? In times of crisis, people look for someone to blame.
Unfortunately, yeah.
It's like this primal instinct,
Yeah.
find a scapegoat. And in this case, it seems like Chinese people became the target.
Sadly, that's exactly what happened. And the paper draws this really interesting parallel between how people with HIV/AIDS were stigmatized and how people of Chinese descent were treated during COVID.
A parallel. How so?
Well, both groups ended up being blamed for spreading disease because of perceived, I guess, unnatural or uncivilized habits.
Oh, wow.
It's this pattern of blaming illness on cultural differences, which, well, just leads to fear, discrimination, you name it.
That's a really disturbing connection, I have to say. I never thought about it like that before. But you mentioned something else earlier, Orientalism. How does
Right.
that fit into all of
Oh,
this?
yes. Orientalism.
It's this idea, right, that the West has this sort of distorted view of Asian cultures.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to understand in this context. It's not just about, the exotic or whatever. It's about creating this sense of otherness. Like Asian cultures are inherently different, mysterious, maybe even dangerous.
So are you saying these Orientalist ideas actually fueled this recent xenophobia?
Well, it's definitely a piece of the puzzle. These pre-existing ideas about Asian societies, being backward or exotic,
Right.
they contribute to this fear and distrust that underlies xenophobia. It's like a perfect storm.
Yeah.
You've got these historical prejudices, mixed in anxieties about disease, global power dynamics,
And bam, a surge of anti-Chinese sentiment.
pretty much.
Okay, so we've got the historical context, the model minority myth, but there's one big piece missing from this puzzle, isn't there?
And what's that?
Social media. I have a
Uh-huh.
feeling it plays a huge role here.
Oh, absolutely. Social media, it's been a game changer in how these ideas spread. It's not just that it spreads faster, though, right? It's
Hmm.
it's the way it spreads that's different, that's changed.
What do you mean?
Think about the format, like everything's, these short little attention-grabbing snippets, sound bites, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're often, based on emotions more than like actual arguments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It's like it creates this echo chamber where fear and prejudice can really take root and flourish.
Exactly. You see a tweet or a post or something, and it just confirms whatever you already believe, even if it's totally bogus.
Ugh, it's like a breeding ground for misinformation. But this paper, they didn't just talk about social media in general, right?
No,
They
no.
actually looked at specific posts.
They did. They analyzed a whole bunch of Twitter posts from around like when the pandemic hit.
Okay.
And well, they found some pretty disturbing trends.
Okay, lay it on me. What kind of stuff were people actually saying? What did they find?
So one of the big themes was this focus on strangeness is
Yeah.
what they called it.
Strange.
Yeah, like people zeroing in on what they see as like weird or different about Chinese culture, especially when it came to food.
Ah, yes. The whole they eat weird stuff argument. I've definitely heard that one before. It's an attempt to distance, right? To be like, they're not like us. They're strange and different and probably dangerous. Doesn't that tie back into the whole Orientalism thing we're talking
Oh,
about?
absolutely. This focus on strangeness, it plays right into those Orientalist tropes. It reinforces this idea that Asian cultures are inherently like other, something to be feared or mocked even.
Okay, but what were people actually saying? Do they have examples in the paper?
Oh yeah, they've got a bunch of examples. Like there's this one tweet from January 2020. It says, hold on, let me find it. Okay, here we go. It says, I am trying to keep an open mind, like it is okay that these cultures like to eat strange things. Meanwhile, I am thinking, filthy, godless people spreading disgusting diseases via their lust for foul foods. No wonder it took them 1,000 years to almost join the modern world.
Oh my God, that's just awful and so dehumanizing.
Yeah.
It's not even trying to have a real conversation. It's just pure prejudice.
It is. It's just hate. And that's not even the worst of it. There's another theme they found, scapegoating.
Scapegoating, yeah.
People just straight up blaming China and Chinese people for the whole pandemic.
Yeah, yeah. I remember seeing a lot of that going around at the time. I mean, it wasn't just random people on Twitter either, right?
Yeah.
Even some pretty powerful figures were using that kind of language.
You're right. The researchers actually call out this one tweet from Donald Trump, who was, president at the time.
Oh.
It was in March 2020, and he tweeted, the United States will be powerfully supporting those industries, like airlines and others, that are particularly affected by the Chinese virus. we will be stronger than ever before.
Chinese virus. Ugh, I hate that term. It's so othering, and just plain inaccurate. And coming from the president, it gives everyone else permission to use that same kind of language, doesn't
It
it?
does. It normalizes it, makes it seem okay.
Right. And it's not just about like individuals being jerks online. It's bigger than that.
It is.
This kind of rhetoric, it can actually influence like policy decisions.
Absolutely.
It can lead to real-world consequences for people of Chinese descent.
Yeah, discrimination in housing, jobs, healthcare, it can affect everything.
It's scary. It's like this online hate speech spills over into real life and causes real harm. So were there any other themes they found in the tweets?
Yeah, one more. They call it the undesirable citizen.
Undesirable citizen.
Yeah, it was all these tweets calling for Chinese people to be, like excluded or deported, told to go back where they came from, that kind of thing.
That's just heartbreaking to be made to feel like you don't belong, like you're not welcome in your own home just because of your ethnicity.
It's awful. And
Oh.
it's just another reminder that this isn't just about like abstract ideas or online trolling.
Right.
It has a real impact on people's lives.
Okay, so we've got these three themes:
Yeah,
strangeness, scapegoating, and undesirable citizen. And you were saying earlier that these echo like historical xenophobic tropes.
exactly. And that's what's so disturbing about it, really. It's like history's repeating itself. These same prejudiced ideas that were used to justify discrimination and violence in the past are being like resurrected and amplified in this digital age.
So it's not just that the pandemic triggered this like resurgence of xenophobia. It kind of exposed these deeper underlying currents of prejudice that have always been there, right? Just below the surface.
That's a great way to put it. And it brings us to, I think, a really important question.
What's that?
Is this, are we talking about racism, xenophobia, or both?
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Like, on the one hand, we're talking about people of Chinese descent being specifically targeted, which, I mean, that seems like racism pretty clearly.
Yeah.
But then there's also this element of, like, just fear and distrust of foreigners in general, which, that's xenophobia, right?
Right.
So how do we, like, separate those two things?
Yeah, it's definitely complicated, and it's something the researchers really grappled with too.
So what did they land on?
Well, they basically conclude that it's not an either or situation, it's both.
Both.
Yeah, they found like clear evidence of racism and xenophobia kind of mixed together in these online attacks.
So it's not just about like hating someone for their race, it's also about fearing them because they're seen as like foreign.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they're a threat because they don't belong.
Right.
And if you think back to those examples of the language we were talking about before, like disgusting population or backward population, those phrases, they're not just,
Yeah.
they're not just racist. They're also tapping into this fear of the other, the outsider.
Yeah, it's like those two forms of bigotry are like feeding off each other, amplifying each other.
They really act.
Okay, but here's the thing that I'm still like stuck on. We started this whole deep dive talking about the model minority myth, right?
Right.
And now we're seeing all this like blatant xenophobia. How do those two things even coexist? It feels like a contradiction.
It is a bit of a head scratcher. And it's something that researchers talk about directly in the paper.
So what do they say?
They argue that the pandemic, COVID, it basically like stripped away that protective shield of the model minority stereotype.
Interesting. So like that image of the successful, hardworking Asian American, it was suddenly shattered by all this wave of fear and prejudice.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's almost like the pandemic revealed how fragile that stereotype really was, how easily it could be like broken down.
And what's left is this raw prejudice that was maybe like hidden beneath the surface all along.
It's possible. I mean, it's hard to say for sure, but the pandemic definitely brought it to the forefront.
It makes you wonder how much of that model minority perception was like genuine in the first place and how much of it was just this convenient narrative that people clung to.
It does raise some questions about the nature of stereotypes,
Yeah.
even the ones that seem positive.
Right, because even if they're meant as like compliments, they can still be really limiting.
They can. They put people in boxes, limit their opportunities, and yeah, ultimately they dehumanize people.
It's like we're not seeing people as individuals anymore. We're just seeing them as like representations of these stereotypes.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think, that really gets to the heart of what this research is trying to tell us. It's a call to move beyond these simplistic labels and really try to engage with each other.
Yeah, with more empathy, more understanding.
Exactly.
So, big picture, after this whole deep dive, what's the takeaway for our listeners? Like, what should they be thinking about?
Hmm. I think the most important thing is, don't just take stereotypes at face value, whether they're positive or negative.
Hmm.
Question them, challenge them, and try to see the complexities, beneath the surface. And when you see harmful stuff spreading online, don't just scroll past it.
Right.
Speak up,
Yeah.
challenge it, amplify the voices of those who are being marginalized.
It's like that saying, silence in the face of injustice is complicity. We all have a responsibility to speak out against prejudice and discrimination whenever we see it.
We do. It's about understanding that this isn't just, some abstract academic debate. This stuff has real-world consequences for real people.
It does.
And I think by learning about the history, the role of these stereotypes, how social media shapes our perceptions,
Yeah.
we can start to dismantle these harmful narratives and build a more just world.
That's a great note to end on. I know I learned a ton from this deep dive, and hopefully our listeners did too. It's definitely given me a lot to think about and even more to act on. So thanks for joining us. And until next time, stay curious.